Okay, unlike the perfectly competitive market where there are many, many firms competing to sell stuff, and the monopoly market where there's just one firm, we're now going to look at what's called monopolistic competition. And this is probably the better example of competition, how competition works in markets. So we'll start off with our typical monopoly market diagram and model. And the perfectly competitive firm will produce the QC, a PC, and price it at PPC, and that's a perfectly competitive market. Price is equal to marginal cost, and the firm earns no economic profit, operating at the minimum of its average total cost curve. Now, again, that's a key component there. There's no economic profit, and in the perfectly competitive model, the firm is operating at the minimum of its average total cost. And with a monopoly market, marginal revenue equals marginal cost. At that quantity, that's a quantity of the monopolist, and they price P monopoly, and it is earning economic profit equal to this amount here, above its average total cost to the monopoly price. Now again, this is a monopolist that's earning an economic profit and not a loss. Now, with a imperfectly competitive model, what happens is the company brings out a differentiated product which gives it a monopoly profit. But soon, close competitors move in, which drives the demand curve for the original monopoly market down, so that the firm is now operating marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and it's now earning no economic profit, but it's not at the minimum of its average total cost. So again, we can review this again. It's earning economic profit at the price PPM, but close substitutes come and enter the market, and therefore they're not perfect substitutes like in the perfectly competitive model, but there are substitutes that compete away the economic profit of this monopolistically competitive firm. It is now producing Q monopolistically competitive at a price of PMC, which is a little bit over the perfectly competitive model. It's not at the minimum of average total cost, but it is not earning economic profit anymore because those profits are competed away by close substitutes. So again, marginal revenue equals marginal cost, which is less than price, so its price is above marginal cost, but then what happens is that competition drives it away, so there's no economic profit. And this happens when you have firms having the incentive to differentiate. Some examples of this are automobile companies. They're close substitutes. They're not perfect substitutes, but they're very close substitutes. Cell phone companies, TVs, they innovate. In order to give them a more inelastic demand curve, they're constantly trying to find something new and improve the quality of their product. So the HD TVs have transformed considerably to where the prices are actually reasonable to any family to own. Cell phone technology. The iPhone was a monopolistic market at first, and then you had close substitutes in terms of the Samsung, the LG models, and they competed away economic profit, but Apple continually innovates, trying to come up with something new, as do Samsung, LG, and other phone makers. The same with TVs. We now have ultra-high definition TVs, 105-inch for the home. This model probably costs about $5,000 or $6,000. Within a year or two, it'll probably be down to less than $1,000. Branding. Companies brand in order to give themselves a more inelastic demand curve. They're close substitutes, but if I can get you to be loyal to my brand, I can charge you more. So the branding is a way of identifying people who are willing to pay more for your product. And lastly, they compete. And we see this with the airlines. They're constantly competing in terms of different ways. Southwest, bags fly free. Delta, they charge. Maybe you get other amenities on Delta. There are more flights to different areas. That competition is a way of differentiating my product, so I'm not competing or selling the exact same. So again, the takeaway from this is marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost, but that's less than price. Economic is possible in the short run, but in the long run, close substitutes compete that profit away so that the price is, greater than the average total cost at first, but then price is driven down to average total cost, but just not at the minimum where it would be in the perfectly competitive market. And in order to create a more inelastic demand curve for their products, firms will innovate, differentiate, brand, and compete in ways to give them a more inelastic demand curve. This completes our section on markets.